Yes guys, welcome back to a first video in about 3 months. It's been a long time since I last posted here on the channel, but we're back. Hopefully now we're going to start getting the ball rolling with more videos more often. I've got the Ajax shirt on, as you can see, so we're going to be talking about my beloved Ajax. I started sort of before pre-season doing a weekly roundup of everything going on, looking at transfer rumours, looking at how the club had been looking sort of at the start of the season. And now that we're a few months into the season, I'm going to be talking about the Champions League so far, the Eredivisie, and sort of a player update, just what I think the players who have been standing out, the players who maybe haven't been reaching their potential as we'd like to be seeing at this point. But if you'd like to see more content like this, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. It always helps me out. It helps me see that you guys are interested in this. And I'm thinking about doing a Football Manager save with Ajax. Can I do better than the man himself, Erik ten Hag? We'll have to see. If you guys want to see that, of course, let me know as well. Yes, well, let's start with the Champions League then. Everything's going perfect for us. 4 games in, 4 games won, Haller is on fire, and it's the first time for me as an Ajax fan that I've been able to go into the final 2 group stage games of a European sort of competition and just enjoy it, because we've beaten Borussia Dortmund twice. We went to Germany, beat them 3-1 recently. Back in Amsterdam we won 4-0. I didn't expect that. I don't think anyone expected those 2 results, but well, we've got them. So we'll go into the last 2 games against Sporting Lisbon and Besiktas knowing that we're already through and it doesn't matter what happens there, so we've got to be happy with it. Now, a lot of people tend to ask, do I think that we can go on to win the competition? And I really don't know. I don't want to be naive and say yeah, because I know there's a lot of fantastic teams out there that will give Ajax a lot of difficult challenges, but I think we've got to look at our squad and say it is better than what it is 2 years ago. I think we're more of a complete team. I think obviously we are missing the likes of Ziyech and Van der Beek, who give what I would say that creative edge to us, but then Neres isn't as good now as what he was a few years ago. But I think we're more complete. I think we're stronger in defence, which is really key if we are going to go far in this competition. And yeah, I think for me, I'd be disappointed if we don't reach the quarterfinals. Obviously, that's dependent on who we get in the next round in the tie. But I'm hoping that if we get a nice tie, or a tie that at least that we're good enough to win, then I would hopefully see us get to at least the quarterfinals. Maybe that might be me underachieving there, because a lot of Ajax fans have been sort of expecting the best from us. Maybe a treble season. Could we win the Eredivisie, which I'll go on to talk about in a little while as well. But the Champions League's been perfect, to be honest. Haller, he gets a lot of criticism, but he does his job well. He scores the goals that he's supposed to be scoring. Yeah, he does miss a few chances that he's supposed to be doing better with, but I mean, with the goal return that he's got so far in the competition, you can't criticise the man. And he's doing everything that we didn't have a few years ago. Obviously, Tadic played in the centre and he got the best out of the players around him as well. Whereas Haller, he's lethal. You can't criticise him. I think defenders in Europe are really scared to play against him because he's clinical. Every time he gets a chance, you know that he's going to be testing the keeper, and a lot of the times he's scoring, so you can't complain with that. But so far, so good in the Champions League. I can't really complain, and let's just hope that we can end the group stage winning all 6 games. Yes, guys, and let's move on away from the Champions League into the domestic campaign, the Eredivisie. With 13 games played, we've scored 42 goals. That is an incredible stat line. What's that, like 3 per game at least? 3 point something? My maths isn't great. You guys let me know. But it's an incredible stat line. 42 goals, matched by then only 2 goals conceded. We have let in just 2 goals in our first 13 games. That is a remarkable stat line. If I was to compare that to anyone sort of in years gone past, it reminds me of Chelsea under Jose Mourinho when they first won the Premier League in England, and it's quite remarkable, especially as we don't have we have 2 ball playing sort of centre backs in Martinez and Timber. We don't have hard hitting centre backs, but we have ball playing centre backs who like to come forward and bring the ball forward, who like to get involved in the attacking display. So it's really remarkable that we've only conceded, those 2 goals so far, and hopefully we can continue it. It's been good in that front, but when you look at some of our performances, I think we looked a bit lacklustre against Heracles. Against Go Ahead Eagles before the international break. I think maybe some of our players were a little bit tired. when you had the run of the Champions League games during the week and then the Eredivisie, maybe it had its impact. Because this is being recorded, this video, the day after we won 5-0 against RKC Volvite. Please let me know if I've pronounced that right, because as an English speaker I don't know if I've said that right. But anyway, yeah, 5-0 at the weekend. Berghaus came back into the lineup, he got 2 goals. Haller got 2 goals. Again, you can't criticise Haller. I know he doesn't do much throughout the game, but my God, he scores whenever he's asked upon. And Timber was in the action as well, so that was great to see. And for me, I think the best thing about yesterday's game was seeing Neres get involved in the goals, and Mohamed Darami, a player that we haven't been able to see yet because Ten Hag doesn't like to rotate too much. But Darami was in, he got an assist yesterday as well. So it was good to see more of that for us yesterday, and hopefully as these games come thick and fast before Christmas, we can see a little bit more rotation, we can see some sort of fresh legs, and obviously we don't have to worry about the Champions League too much as well. So there are a few opportunities there to rotate and see a few other players play. But in the Eredivisie, a little bit concerning because we are really tight with PSV at the moment and Feyenoord there. It's a real tight race despite how good our sort of attacking and defensive record have been. So I'm hoping that we can get a good run of form going at the moment. We won't slip up against these smaller teams because, I mean, we beat quite emphatically we beat PSV emphatically, and I'm hoping that against Feyenoord, when we play them in AZ Alkmaar, some of the bigger teams, that will be fine against them. It's just making sure we get over the line against the smaller teams, not taking those games for granted. But at the moment, I'm happy with how the Eredivisie's gone. Obviously, I'd like us to really kick on now, and I would have hoped that we'd got more points by now. But you can't complain with how we've started. Really, just kind of hoping that we a little bit more clinical in some of those smaller games. And finally, in this kind of couple months into the season roundup, I'm not too sure I'm going to title it yet, but you guys will know. I'm going to look at a few of the players individually. I think I've already mentioned Edson Alvarez. I think he's superb. He really does sort of have that comparison for me as like Sergio Busquets. He just very good. He does a lot of the dirty work, and when you think about a game that Ajax have played, he's not one that you always mention because a lot of the attacking players like Antony and Tadic and Haller will get a lot of the credits, but Alvarez is such a underrated player for what he does. He wins the ball back, he has a lot of determination and passion to make sure that the defence is well protected, looking at Timber and Martinez. And for me, Edson Alvarez is really the player that if he got injured, that Ajax would really suffer, and we'd really see the problems that if he wasn't there, because I don't think we have a player quite like him. We didn't have a player like him during the Champions League run a few years ago, and what he does for the team is so underrated and so undervalued in my opinion that we don't often give him the praise that he deserves. But for me, Edson Alvarez has been one of the standout players of the season. And then looking away from that, I think Tadic, you've got to praise him. I mean, there have been games against Heracles and Go Ahead Eagles where he was not looking his sharpest, but I think he always does his best. I think he always puts in, for me, somewhere between a 7 to 10 out of 10 performance, because he always gives us that sort of edge. He tries to do things that other players are a little bit scared to do, and he's relatively consistent. I think Antony, if we're comparing him to Antony, is that Antony on the ball is superb, but sometimes he can do so much with the ball without actually influencing the game, and that's the problem for me with Antony, is that whilst he is a top player, and we've seen some really good performances from him this season, where last season, you know, he sort of really faded towards the end of the season, Antony has a problem of just doing too much without doing much on the actual game, whereas Tadic, I think every time he gets the ball, you think he's going to influence the game, you think he's going to create an opportunity or score himself. So yeah, Tadic is one that I've really been excited about, and obviously Steven Berghuis, we signed him from rivals Feyenoord, and he's really helped us going forward. I think whilst Tadic does so much on the ball himself, I think Berghuis opens up the play himself. His movement is superb. I think he reads the game really well, and I didn't really rate him when we signed him. I thought it was quite an underwhelming signing. I didn't think it was an exciting signing, but I think he brings us something different. I think if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be doing so well in the Champions League. And obviously he scored 2 goals yesterday as well, so I think going forward we're so much better than last season, just because we've made those slight changes by bringing Berghuis in. I think Tadic and Anthony are a bit more sort of cleaner in the way that they play, and we just look sharp in defence as well. So there's a few really exciting players. I've talked about Pasveer and goals. Well, I don't think he's had too much to do. I would have liked to see sort of our number 2, Jay Gorta. I've probably butchered that, but I'd like to see the young goalkeeper given a chance over the next couple of weeks. But all in all, there's some really good performance there. The only one that I'd really criticise, I don't like to criticise players too much, but I think, well, especially when we're playing well. If we're not playing well, then I'll criticise players. But I think Ryan Gravenberch, I think we just need to see a little bit more from him. I think the problem for me is that I've never rated him too highly to the point that he's one of the best in the world, but I think he is very quiet in the game. I think he's so confident that he just sort of drifts through a game, and you don't always see much from him, Gravenberch. I think he absolutely tries his best, but I think there are times that he will play a game and you think that he hasn't done too much. But I'd like to see him just get on the ball a bit more, be a little bit more direct with his play, and really try and get involved in the attacking outlets. Some of the games that we've had recently have just needed a little bit more from him, and I think that's where a little bit of the criticism has come. But I love Ryan Gravenberch. I think he's an excellent player, and I think every player, when they're young, they go through patches where they're not at that shining best that we can see of them, but we know that there's an exciting talent there, and we just need to encourage him, and hopefully he will sort of bring the goods in the next couple of games. So yeah, that's it from me. This is the roundup for the first 3 months of the season so far. I can't complain too much. Obviously, as the next couple of weeks come into full effect, we'll be able to give a bit more analysis, looking at how the games start to break down. Hopefully we start to break away from the others in the race for the Eredivisie. Obviously the Champions League we haven't got to worry about too much, but hopefully I'll do a video before the sort of draw for the round of 16, and hopefully we get a nice tie. I'm hoping anyway, because I'd love to see us recreate what we did a few years ago. But yeah, be sure to let me know what you think. Are you happy to see this mug back on your screens? Let me know how you feel about that. And if you'd like to see a Football Manager say from me, I'm thinking of Football Manager with Sam, a new channel to accompany this one. It's just in the works at the moment, but if you'd like to see that, let me know. And if you have any recommendations for any video types, be sure to let me know. Peace out.